I literally have no idea if everything ended up live or not. So we'll just go go along here, see what happens. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show once again. Pedro and I have been getting the show started here. Various services have failed us this morning, including our content delivery network that I pay a lot of money for called Vimeo.
Come on, Vimeo. You're normally good. What's going on with you? I don't see anybody actually even watching us. I think it's just me watching them.
Something I don't even show you watching us. Got nothing going on.
What is going on? What's going on? Normally we have like 2 or 3 people popping in at least. Literally we're not even. Did you post anything on
I did all the normal social media.
Okay.
Something weird. What's that song? There's something going on. I know there's something going on. Well, everyone's just getting the entertainment here this morning.
Absolutely. It's good times. How about let's go. It's real interesting. So let's check out the market here. What's actually happening?
All right, let's get to that.
Why it's just me and you. So, we actually have a couple things kind of going on from a technical standpoint. So let's kind of go up here because now we're about mid, about 2/3 of the way through the month, and so one of the things that I do is I then will look at these points. I'll look at the market and say, okay. Let me go ahead and remove this here real quick, delete this. So we'll go through and we want to see how they're going to take profit. So about 2/3 of the time they're going to push in a direction, maybe 3/4 of the time. So like 3 weeks out of 4 weeks, or 2.5 to 3 weeks out of 4 weeks, where they will sit there and kind of gauge what's actually happening. So that's why I always kind of like to look, what's the next part of this, the closing of the month here, right? Can you believe it's almost March, bro?
I was just thinking that earlier today when you mentioned, brought up the current presidential administration, and we said it's only been 4 weeks. I was like, that means it's towards the February's ending. I'm like, that means it's almost March. I'm like, how did that happen?
It's renting, bro. It's renting. Days will go by faster. So it's interesting that.
Welcome, Larry, coming in all the way from Consensus Hong Kong, 2025.
What is up, Larry? What's up, brother? It is good to see you. What's up? Hey, man, if you can shout us out. We don't got a lot of people popping in here today, but we about to go over some real deep stuff in the market and where things are happening. So if you could shout us out over at Consensus, let people know who we are. What up, baby? That would be dope. But let's go ahead and go into
this. Get us on the big screen there on the main stage.
Yeah,
that would be great,
could you get that happen? That would be great, man. That would be awesome. Me and my water stain right here. So anyways, dude, so the market here is looking really interesting. I think it's he's all, let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, baby. All right. So let's check this out here. This market is basically, we're seeing this, we saw this sell-off at the beginning and the middle of the month. But then at the same time, and I always bring this up, right? We're always going to see a profit taking. Now, I'm always thinking, like, again, if I'm short something, I just want to see it go further. I'm always thinking, how far can it go? Okay, and that's really important to understand because that'll allow you to run your profits, right? If you got a winner, let that winner run. So I'm always saying we're coming down to here to these lower levels because, one, these are real lower levels.
Yep.
But also, in the same sense, those are liquidity levels that there are orders sitting there. And because there's orders sitting there, that means that the institution can fill up their buys or their sells at those lower levels and then get their clients in at a really good price, right? From an institutional standpoint, this is how they kind of set things up. So in that same sense, when I'm looking at this market here and I'm sitting there going, okay, we're selling off here, we're coming down into here, we're pulling back. Now, this pullback, is it going to continue up to the highs and we're going to end green, which is very plausible, all right, comparative to what we talked about yesterday. Ondu, what up? Well, yeah, I'll go over Ondu, XRP,
Oh,
definitely.
he's saying
We'll check
something.
it out.
There's a link that the Ondo and XRP are forming. They must have announced some kind of link up starting on March 10th. That's what I'm guessing. What
Oh,
he's saying.
shoot. Okay, I'll check that out. We'll check out XRP.
Well, check
That's a
out
big
Ondo.
deal.
If its price is flying, then you'll know.
Yeah, send it. Could you check it out in the background real quick and just let me know?
I'll
All
find
right,
it.
so let me finish this up here real quick. What we're seeing with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now is coming through. It's flying hard on the monthly. It's pulling back up, and so with this same sense, we want to then pull into the week, right? So we saw the first part of the month. We saw it go down, or we saw it consolidate here. I expected last week to see a sell-off because we ended up red here the previous week. So last week I said, all right, this means that we should see a sell-off, but we stayed in between the 8-period moving average. And I expected us last week to come down to this 20-period moving average on the weekly chart and then put in a lower low and then go up is what I thought we were going to do. But it just consolidated here. And with that same sense, showing me, okay, they may not want to push it down, but kind of consolidate. And so this week, we saw the sell-off coming in on Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday is starting to push back up. And now we're going to see here, and this is really important, are we going to get back up and get above this 8-period moving average for the week, which is sitting about that 97,984 area? Again, this is BTC USD. So I think it's really important to understand where we're sitting in this market. So if we come up here and we close above the 97,983, okay, that's extremely bullish sign saying, you know what, we're going up, because let's go over. We have a high.
Ooh.
We have a low, which is a lower low. See how it's higher? And then we have a higher high. Now I expected us to go down here, right?
Hit that liquidity level right here.
Exactly, right at these levels right here. But now as I'm looking at it, the fact that we're going up again towards the middle of the week, right? We saw it Sunday and Monday, we see it go down. Tuesday, consolidate, it could go down. And then Wednesday, we see it start to pop up. That's an indication that it's going to end green for the end of the week, right? So now let's check it out here. And remind you, we're talking about this 97, 98. And I'm actually going to, back in my old days with my old charts, where I used to sit there and have all the lines there, and you'd be like, I can't read chat, what you talking about. Forgive me for that, but I've got to just sit here and look at this real quick so I make sure I get that correct. What's going on? Dude, that you got my that song stuck in my head.
Something going on.
Come on, dude. Don't be a dish.
My sound effects.
All right, there we go. Alrighty then. Okay, so now we want to line up this line with what we have going on where we could actually see resistance. And as you guys can see, we actually have the 20-period moving average coming down pretty hard here. And additionally too, we also have a bunch of seller wicks in this level here. Now I haven't fully quantified that level there, but I would say that we've got a 200-period moving average. On the daily, we have a lot of real resistance that we're going to have to fight through. We've got that 100-period moving average. We've got the 20-period heading strong at us, and it's basically going to act as resistance. Now, the good part behind it is that we're pushing up here. So as I'm looking at this, my indication is, one, go long until we get up to about that 97, 98 area, touching that 8-period or the 20-period moving average as it is crossing the 100-period moving average, which is sitting at 97,759. So you can see right here, see how I'm looking at this area right here. This is your 20 crossing.
And to be clear, you're on the daily chart.
This is the daily chart, because the daily chart basically tells everybody what to do. It's the mean guy on the block. He's the running the block, okay? And that daily will run that block. Remember, he's got people he's got to go to, right? He's the distributor, okay? And he got to go up chain, which is called that weekly and that monthly chart. But It's the one that's on the block that runs the day-to-day operations. So look at it like that. All right. And so we're looking at this area as it's pushing back up here. I'm expecting to see some type of resistance coming in. So you've got a clear shot pretty much from this 96.43 or 96.433 area to up to here. Now, again, this is where we're seeing where's it going to end up at the end of the week if we go up. So I would expect us to see some resistance come in at these levels here. So got a decent little play here. Now let's check out the 4-hour. We can see here we want to find a trending SMA. So this trending SMA, as I'm looking at, is looking like it could be that 4-hour 8. You can see how we came in, found some support here. Now we're starting to push up. So I like the way that looks. Boom. And then now we're seeing as it's starting to move up, we're starting to put in kind of
what
a
time
doji.
frame did you just switch to?
I just went from 4 to 2 hour. Okay, and so you can see here as I'm looking at this, I expected us to kind of play. Actually, I'm going to switch it, but I just want to see something here real quick. All right, so I expected us to play and hit. This was my supply area that I said we should. This was, I believe, yesterday that I talked about saying, all right, we should see a bit of a sell-off here. We pushed through this level here, and you can see here on the hour as we push through this, it ate through this like nobody's business. Boom. Now it's starting to push up. And so I'm looking at a few things. I'm looking to see, remember, I want to line up lines. So if I would expect us to see a sell-off come down, I would expect to see a sell-off to come down about right here, right? Kind of come down into this level here.
Yeah.
And then to see it continue up if it's going to continue for the rest of the week. So I like it like this. And this is the area. This is a 1 hour, but this also is, yeah, perfect. Give me one second.
And viewers, all 0.5 of you. The way the graph is right now, it looks like, whoa, big up and down in Bitcoin. We're trading in a very thin range right now. Very thin range. And the volume is very low, which is concerning. Consolidation usually happens during these times, but the fear index is still pretty high. I should say the fear is high, the greed is low, and volume is down. And usually the alts go crazy during this period of consolidation for Bitcoin. But as I was listening to somebody yesterday, Pedro, they said, yeah, but that's usually when Bitcoin is consolidating near its highs, and we're about 10% off the highs. Does that make any sense to you? So the alts are still waffling.
Yeah.
And of course, with the Solana meltdown, which we'll go into in a few minutes.
In a minute, yeah.
Too, but it's perplexing, and I guess, I talked earlier, for some of you didn't hear it, about not being in the market the past week. I really didn't miss anything. It's like, oh man, you missed the Trump coin, or you missed, Bitcoin went up 25%. No, all I missed was 95,000, 96,000, 95,000,
yeah.
96,000, 95,000, 96,000. And obviously you can make money in that if you play, if you have a large pot of money in it, little moves, you can make some money. But it's also, when you play with a large pot of money, that's also high risk. So.
I always tell people, look, $20 a day is not a bad. It's $100 at the end of the week.
Like, no, that'll get you. That'll get you a couple of fast food meals or a steak.
Or you can then take that into
compound
the week. Yeah, you can compound that and take it into the next week and do another 100. Again, you have 200. And then at the end of the month, you have 400. And then you can sit there and say, you know what? Instead of trying to make 20, I'm going to add a little bit more into my play box. And instead of making 100, 20, instead of $20, I'm going to try to make $25 that day. Right. And all of a sudden you make 25 because you're doing the same thing over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, instead of having, $100 that week, you've now made literally 125, right? Which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a 25% increase. And
25% is good.
Maybe do that for another month. You know what I'm saying? Which means you got $500 plus that $400. That's $900, right? Now you can sit there and say, you know what? I'm gonna add, maybe trying to, instead of $25 a day, I'm gonna try to make $30 a day. right? And all of a sudden, now you're making 30, and you're making like, what is that? 30, 60, 120, 150. 150 a week ain't
That's
bad
how
for
we roll,
4
baby. We make
weeks.
150.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why I bring this up is obviously like you would get frustrated, right? You're like, I'm only making this amount. But here's the thing. Compound interest over a period of a year, just like working out, right? Like never underestimate what you can do in a year. Because if you keep doing that, all of a sudden, now at 6 months, 8 months, you're making $100 a day, right? You're making then 125 a day, which in the next year, let's say you get to now 300. Well, $300 a day could sustain most people, right? And the thing I love about crypto is it trades 24/7. So you can go in there, find your setups, and go and set it up. So I really like that aspect behind it. So yeah, that's where I'm looking at. That's what I'm checking out. So I
300 a
like
day
this
is good.
area.
That's $9,000 in a
Yeah.
month if you trade every day.
Yeah. And then here's the thing. And then after that, if you make 330, 330% or 330 a day, and after that month, and then 350.
Next thing you know, you're making 1,000 a day. Then you're making 10,000 a day.
It's kind of,
And there are traders that do that.
10,000. Dude, I know traders who make literally $500,000 a day. 500 to $1 million a day.
That'd be nice.
And because they trade futures, they literally they only have to pay 30% on that because they're offering liquidity to the market.
Well, the tax law could change here in a year, and there could be no tax on it.
That just would be crazy, man. I mean,
imagine the explosion in the economy. Oh
dude,
my God!
All that money, and we all know. Like at first, we're gonna be like, how long is this gonna last? But I would love to see the outcry if let's say the Democrats get back into office this next time around, and they change it back. Bruh.
That's what somebody was saying, was that if we actually do, I should say somebody, another YouTuber that was in the legal area reminded us that if we do switch and eliminate the income tax, and we do a national sales tax instead, which taxes consumption rather than income, then we need to eliminate the 16th Amendment of the United States. We need to repeal that, which gives the federal government the power to collect income tax. Otherwise, we'll end up like Canada and the EU, where they have high income taxes and high national sales taxes. They have both. And that's just not going to work. Crypto Mike in the house. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Mike?
Hope the doctor's visit went well yesterday. You're not dead, so I guess that went. You're so far so good. But anyway, Canada has very high taxes on people that have high earnings, especially on crypto traders. And then they have a high sales. Well, not so high. They have a 13% in Ontario sales tax, which it adds up. And then they have a lot of excise taxes also. So like 175 of Jim Beam here, it's $24. In Canada, it's $652 million. But in the UK, people that earn the equivalent of 100,000 US dollars. Once they get over that, maybe it's a little higher, maybe 120, whatever, start paying 50% tax. 50% of their income. Yeah, 50. And they have exemptions and stuff like that too, but that's the published rate. And they pay 20% VAT tax. And they're wanting the government needs to say, heck, we want it to be 22%.
So you're paying 70% of their income. Why would you want to even get rich and deal with that headache?
Well, that's why Europe and the Caribbean and everywhere else is filled with tax havens, and why like anyone with money is suddenly living in Dubai.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine all those people who don't want to deal with the heat of Dubai, and all of a sudden America becomes that type of place. Imagine the
Oh,
money.
no,
coming in.
Dubai will empty out. It'll all just be Russians
Dude.
if we eliminate income tax.
Yeah, dude, it'd be absolutely, because why would you listen? I'm not saying that Dubai isn't a great place. You know, I have a lot of friends of mine. I actually have a few friends of mine, not a lot, but a few friends of mine who live there. You for a while, you're one of them.
Yeah,
who
it's a
lived there for
fantastic
while.
place.
Great place. But it gets ungodly hot. Like we're talking like 110 degrees. That's a good day. That means you can walk out with like, you know, a t-shirt and you don't have to worry about getting scorched by the sun for like, you know, in 10 minutes. Dude, like a friend was telling me.
When I lived there, I worked in manufacturing, and the plant had no air conditioning. And there were days where it was 49 C, which is 120 some degrees.
Oh my dear Lord.
I mean, you can't. And these guys out there working, they're all from India and Bangladesh and stuff like that. And they're just dripping sweat. By the end of the summer, they look like toothpicks. You know.
Yeah.
Then they all go on vacation back to India. They get a month off. They go back and they come back and they're all round and happy again. They're like, oh, got ate like a king for a month. And then they come back and they sweat it all off again. It's really amazing. And the official thing is if it gets over 50 degrees Celsius, then work stops. Anyone that works unair conditioned or outside.
What's 150 Celsius?
Or 50 Celsius is like, 128 or something like that.
130
Alexa,
degrees.
convert 50 Celsius to Fahrenheit. 122. And
122
but the official temperature never gets above 49.
Never.
It always just stops 49 because the government doesn't want people to stop working.
Dude. So easily. So you're talking it probably. What's the highest you think you actually experienced? Like in all honesty.
We had since it was a manufacturing plant, we had all kinds of technical stuff and tools, and the thermocouple said 52 degrees one day.
152 degrees.
No, 52 Celsius, which is about 126 Fahrenheit.
Holy crap, dude.
I know. It's crazy.
Dude, like
that's crazy.
Here's the thing. I go into saunas, right? About 170, 150, 175, right? And I stay in there for about 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes if I'm really just trying to sweat things out, I'll do an hour, especially if it's sitting around 200. I'll sit there and I'll just be like, get all these toxins out. But I've seen guys come in there and do exercises, like just straight up like push-ups.
Crazy. Imagine wearing a welder's coat and welding mask and operating a welder or a torch.
Dude,
these guys were nuts. They were nuts. We moved to factories at one point, and the new factory, the AC wasn't working. It wasn't even on for the offices either. And I was a consultant for these guys, so I'm like, all right. So after I got done for the day, I went out, found the giant air compressor or the AC machine outside, and I look at it, and it's all computerized. So I'm like, well, even if it's broken, you can turn it on. The computer will tell you what's wrong with it. And so I turned it on, went through its self-checks, and it said one little sensor was off, was keeping it from running. So I took a picture of it, found a dealer for the part in Dubai, drove over there. I said, you got this part? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, what does this thing cost? And he goes, about the equivalent of $20 US. I was like, here. So I just bought it myself. I went, unscrewed the old one, put the new one in, thing fired right up. I got to tell you, the guys that I worked for were so mad at me.
Why?
Because I turned the air conditioning on and it uses electricity. It's expensive. I was like, I just told them, look, you do what you want in the factory. The offices get air conditioned, or none of us people are going to work here. Anyway, we've been going on long enough about that. Because we got a little late start today. Let's get to the heart of the conversation today that we just wanted to talk about. I still say starting soon here. The Solana takedown.
Yes.
Solana takedown, and behind this graphic here, I've got the Argentinian flag here. Now you might say, Tom, why would the Argentinian flag have anything to do with Solana? Well, there was this little thing over the past couple of days called Libra. And we've all heard about it in the news lately. and that it was basically a not a scam token, but not an official token of the president of Argentina, but he mistakenly got way too involved with it. I don't know the whole story about it. That's not the point. The point is they tweeted about it, and then the insiders sold off a ton of money about it. They had sniper bots. They had all the things that go wrong with a launch from a retail perspective. From an insider perspective, all the things went right, and they made a ton of money. But this whole episode, in causing the meltdown of this meme coin, finally brought it to the front of people's minds that, Solana and meme coins, which has been happening for months, years, or at least a year or so, might have some issues. Might be a problem that most of us, meaning most of the people that are not insiders, are actually just getting massively taken advantage of in the meme coin market. And from our perspective, Pedro, there's almost no arguing that. I mean, mostly for meme coins, insiders win. Especially, there's meme coins that have a utility now that's different. They have some long-term growth and/or income. They're not even. I wouldn't even recall. They're titled a meme coin, but they're not. They have a utility. But Solana went down. If you want to bring Solana's chart up, we can look at that.
Absolutely.
Solana went down. Let me get a dramatic amount, and not just stuff that you go, oh, it's just the volatility. It went down basically because of investor confidence here. Lots of heavy-duty selling out of meme coins. It went down to 160 yesterday, came back up to 170.
But it's still showing weakness. It's not like it bounced off. Here's the part. So it is slowing down to this area right here. So we talked about, back here when the coin hit this level here, that 160, that 260 area, not 160, but 260. And I said, again, I went on the Shogun show. I said, all right, these are the areas that you want to play this at, right? Boom. And these were, that was the 231 area, and then came down to the like 207, and then from there was all the way down here at that $1 or 150 mark area. And so I said, and they laughed at me. They said, dude, you're crazy, bro. This thing's going to explode. So we saw the sell-off come in, and then I said, this thing needs to hold in here. And what's more importantly, the way I'm looking at this, and this again, like when we consider this, the S&P 500 futures, the thing that controls the S&P 500, most people don't realize this, is that it's called the Magnificent Seven. The S&P 500 literally has 7 stocks that when either one goes up or goes down, it can actually sell off the S&P 500. And so right now, Solana is the biggest kid on the block. Right now, it's the fattest. And so when you start to see major influences happening within it, I think institutions want to stay in Solana. I think it played exactly how I expected it to play, right? Like all of our viewers know, like, oh, it did exactly, came up, sold off. There was a bunch of seller wicks that were coming down. So this bunch of negative news on this market is a huge indication for me, basically saying they want people to sell off so they can take the other side, because we're coming down to that 150 area, 155.
What moving average is that right there that it's getting?
That's the 400, and then on the weekly that's the 50, and then on the monthly that's about where the 8 is at, kind of. And so we could potentially get down to that 131 area where we have the 200, or where we have the 20 period moving average sitting, right? And again, this stuff has been for almost 2 months now, like 3 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 months we've talked about this stuff. So it isn't anything that, I'm going to delete this here. This isn't anything that's kind of shocking for us, right? Like we've kind of been expecting it. I try to become a bullish sentiment guy, saying, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And we did see a big push up here, but I still believe that the institutions want these prices low here so they can pick up Solana at, potentially down at that 130 area, that 120 area, right? They find the base here, they consolidate and they push it up. And again, I think we're going to see, again, more news coming out that's going to be bad. And I know it's like, I was on Zach Humphrey's show. There was a guy who was talking about how Trump is owned by the banks. And I sided with him and saying I would agree with that to a certain extent, because at a certain point, he's a very rich guy. He doesn't care about money. He's got maybe 15 years, unless longevity pills really start kicking in and he's able to live. But it almost seems like he's the type of guy who will be like, yo, I lived a good life. I helped change America. Deuces. I'm going up to the pearly gates over here. But in the same sense, I feel as if the institutions, they know that crypto is going to be a big deal. And I keep talking about that 30-year outlook, right? 30-year outlook. And at these levels here, the 125, you can look at it almost as from 200 to 100. This is a consolidation area, because when they want to push this, they're gonna push this, to $1 trillion mark. Everything that we see, I think, up in the top 10 to 20, we're going to see 200, 300x easily. We're going to see many of these as inflation starts to, and again, people don't want to hear this, but you're going to see inflation drop and then skyrocket with the correct balance of manufacturing and job income growth at the same time. Whereas in the past,
I agree with you.
Because what Trump, and dude, this is the part that's blowing me away, is that these banks are hedging on Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? They're getting into Bitcoin. They're going through, and they're playing exactly how the S&P plays. You can if you learn how to trade the S&P, you can learn how you can trade Bitcoin. A lot of it, because they're trading the same way now. And so right now, I think when I mean trading the same way, I mean the behavior of a sideways market, the behavior of an up market, the behavior of a down market. In the past, it did not trade normal, right? With crypto, because crypto was really largely traded by novices. But now that the institutions are in it, they're looking for liquidity. They're looking to stop people out. And so in that same sense, this is what they're doing here. There's a ton of stops right below that 150. There's a crazy amount of stops at that 130, 120 area. These are sucker plays where they're going to load up on cheap, right? All these people are going to give up the ghost and say, forget this trade, I'm done with it. And that's exactly what they want.
Right. They want that exit liquidity or entry liquidity.
It's their entry, your exit.
Right. And let's to when you were mentioning Trump and the bank, let's remember the old adage that if you borrow $1 million from the bank owns you. If you borrow $1 billion from the bank, you own the bank, because they've got a lot more to worry about. But when you zoom out on this chart, Pedro, just a little bit, when you're showing the weekly and stuff we're still up in the higher end of this here. There's
absolutely.
When you look at the typical crypto chart, it would be, if it came down to these levels here where your mouse is right there, people would be in full panic. They'd be like, but when you look at the chart, you're like, that's the volatility for crypto.
That's exactly
very possible. And not just very possible. It's very likely, unless something changes fundamentally to bring money in. If Larry Fink gets out and just says, "Man, we're loading up on Solana," that'll have an outsized effect on it going up. But otherwise, with normal trading, it's going to seek out the liquidity. We don't really know where the liquidity is for price discovery, other than what heat book maps tell us and that's really close to the current trading level. But downside, they know there's lots of orders. People put their orders in. The Mercantile Exchange is going to start trading Solana one of these days here, and they'll have great data on that.
They actually already are. You can actually go into Binance. There's already a connection with Binance. I think it's Binance America, where there's actually charts that you can actually trade through the CME. Like legit, I was actually going like, that's kind of crazy. So it's extremely thinly traded. It's not, but they're actually out there. You can check it out, man. I'm really impressed with some of the stuff they're trying to do. Now, granted, it's not a CME product, but it is a CME, like they'll partner, right, with certain other exchanges and say, hey, look, let people have access to this. And so the fact is that they are there, they're going through, they're trading it. It's just a matter of time before you do. I think all the top 10 to 20 cryptos out there will be commodities. We're already seeing David Sachs talking about this, like, and then having its own designation within crypto of a commodity versus a collectible, right? I think seeing that aspect, and then they're also talking about just creating new, not sectors, new categories for crypto, because crypto is unique. And so it's like, it's interesting to sit there and see what they're actually going to do. And I am so thankful to be living in this time period. Like, it's just cool, right? Like, to be able to talk and to be buying crypto and understanding what is actually happening. And
well, it's a lot better than the medieval ages in Europe, that's for sure, or pretty much any day in some countries in Africa.
Dude, the fact that I can say that the sun doesn't revolve around us makes me happy, right? Like, the fact that I can say that is a very important thing, and not be tar and feathered and hung upside down. And what do they call it? Quartering? Right? They
hung, drawn, and quartered.
Dude, like, it's just.
We're taking you to the town square. Why? Oh, if you don't know why, then you're the reason why everyone's going to watch. But back to Solana though. The meme coin market is, and I'm not sure of the right word, but it's picky. It's I don't know. It goes hot and cold, and it's been moving over to Binance or to Binance Smart Chain. And Binance, in the past 2 years, nobody's even mentioned BNB. It's just like, except for Crypto Mike, he mentions it all the time. And all of a sudden, people are talking about ripping projects on Binance. And it's like, it's an inexpensive chain. It's good. It's well run. It's a good chain. But just people just flock to Solana because Pump Fund was there and other things like that. But now I'm sure there's got to be a Pump Fund style launch pad for BNB now. In fact, our friends at Infineon have one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Infineon has their launch pad over there with their on their chain and all that. I think they still operate their BNB one too. I'm not sure about that.
I'm looking for the meme. There's a meme index, and I forgot the name of it. Give me 1 second. What is the meme index? What is it? Meme index. Symbol.
The meme index. I haven't been piping the music to you, but I've been playing some pretty heavy.
Oh yeah.
Background music here, and no one's complained about it yet. So anyway, welcome everybody. We had some technical difficulties starting up today. Our content delivery network failed us, so we didn't hit our launch window, and so the great YouTuber algorithm has not been showing us around that much. So, but thank you to all of you that are watching us on YouTube and Rumble, Twitch, and Kick. We were supposed to go live on LinkedIn today. But because of the Vimeo snafu, I kiboshed that, so we would only have a more professional one on LinkedIn because it's more professional over there. Although it's getting worse now. People are getting into the politics discussion over there. And
I love it.
The politics discussion is great, but LinkedIn, leave it for work stuff. You know.
No, man, I love seeing what's actually going on, because here's the thing. That's what changes America. It's the fact that we can't, like, for the last almost 15 years, you have not been able to talk about politics, money at all, anywhere, right? At the gym.
Right.
Now, with what's happening with Doge, dude, I was at the gym yesterday. Okay, I'm so sore right now, dude. Oh, so forgive me. But I was at the gym yesterday, and I was listening to a podcast talking about Doge, and it was more on the left leaning. And I was cracking up just listening to just them talk about just the horrible things that's happening, what they're doing. And this guy looks at my phone as I'm looking at. I mean, it was because he was right next to me. I was in the after I got done working out, you go in the locker room, right, and you're changing out and stuff like that. And so I actually had it playing on the thing up against the locker thing. So he's walking and he sees my phone, and he sees Doge pops up on my phone, and he goes, "It's talking about Doge?" And I go, "Yeah, it's a left-leaning thing." And he goes, "I love Doge." And I go, "Oh, me too." And then the guy behind him, who's this massive black guy, I mean, dude, I was like, oh shit, like legit, dude. Like the guy was probably like 7'2", 7'3", and just massive. When I say massive, I mean normally tall guys aren't big. You know what I'm saying? Just they're tall. This man was a man you just did not want to mess with. And bro, he goes, "I love Doge," and I said, "Me too." Dude, and the man was probably maybe 50 years old, but he goes, "It's about time the effing government get theirs." And I sat there and I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, and what was happening, and I thought was really interesting, in my ear, the left-leaning podcast that I was listening to was talking about how the majority of government workers and minorities are going to be the one that's going to get hurt. I'm a minority. This other guy's a minority. He was he was like Asian dude, and then the other big old black dude was sitting there, and it's just like, and I'm like, this is kind of like and it just started cracking me up, just the dynamic that we can now talk about things without being afraid of being lambasted or being targeted as divisive, because I think it's good. That's how this country literally got started. Bunch of dudes at the bar was like, "Those mother keep taxing us, dude." Ooh, like they just took down. They're not even here to know what that's
without
going
representation. On. Let's go get their tea and dump it in the water. That'll show them.
Look at those red coats over there, dude. Like that's how this country got started. And now we can talk about real things, the things that ail us, and that was so hard to say. That ail us and that bother us, and we can talk about amongst each other. And I love the fact that you did have, I probably sat there and talked about 10 minutes with those guys. And one of the things that one of the guys brought up, he goes, "I remember when in the 70s, that older guy who was the big black dude was like literally saying," he goes, "what frustrates me is I remember when you could go down and get a job. If you lost a job somewhere else, you could, it didn't matter what race you were. Like you could go out, if you lost your job, you could go down to the next wherever and get a job." He goes, "In today's world, that can't happen." He goes, like in the 80s and the 90s, like his father, he lost a job, boom, he got a next job, right? When he started working in the 90s, like he could go out and get jobs, and where I live, it's very industrial, a lot of industry here. And now he goes, "You lose your job, you're on maybe 3 to 6 months." He goes, "I love the fact that Trump is," and again, this is coming from a big black man who's in his mid 50s, probably early 60s, salt and pepper man. And I was like, dang, like, he's looking forward to some of this stuff. And he would never get put on CNN, CNBC. He would never be put on ABC.
You know who they get put on? They get put on the Steven Crowder show. He goes out and interviews people of all makes
really?
and sizes, and they give them honest answers. They're like, no, this is good. And they're like, well, the media, mainstream media is saying that you people of whatever racial minority are against this and hate it, and you're oppressed, and the white man's just trying to get you. And he goes, "Are you kidding? You know how much I have to pay taxes? I struggle just to keep my job, get a better job, get educated, all this type of stuff. Pay 25% of my money in taxes, and I hear it's funding an Irish transgender show of some sort. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And so we don't want that, right? And so it's coming back to Doge. While I disagree with some of the methods, and the kind of the stormtrooper method of it.
I love the stormtrooper method, dude.
Well, let me rephrase that. The stormtrooper way they announce it without, absolute empirical evidence. Instead of just coming out on Twitter and blowing it out, they really need to come out with the data. And on the Doge.gov website, it does have a lot of the data, but I really enjoy putting the brakes on the spending. And not only that, but just figuring out where the government has gone wrong, no matter how much money they spent on auditing, hiring the big four consultant companies and all this type of stuff. Just like yesterday, we talked about how they can't even get the age thing right. They can't even validate data, properly. There's no one in that giant Department of Treasury or Social Security that could just run a simple SQL query, which is they're like, oh, those teenagers, they're just stealing all your info and stealing your credit.
Break, dude.
I mean, the Treasury has 70,000 people working for it anyway that have access to your Social Security number, or Social Security Administration have access to all your information, and all your information is available for sale on the dark web anyway.
This is where I've talked to multiple people. I said, you're concerned about this, yet our government is having some dudes check them when they haven't even pushed any information with the fact that on the dark web, if I really wanted to, I could get your social security, your date of birth in literally 10 minutes with $5 to $10.
Yep.
Like that quick, within 10 minutes.
And people are like,
and the reality,
no. And the reality is, yes.
No. Listen, I talked to guys who, and you know what this one guy said? He said to me, old military friend of mine, he goes, yeah, well, you know what though? How do you say? He goes, but I don't expect our government to do it. That's what he said. He goes, I don't expect our government. And I said, dude, you know how many corporations? I mean, how many corporations have been hacked?
Hey.
Your social security. You know what? And I even talked about how the Pentagon got hacked. Literally. And yet we don't hear about it. So your stuff's already out there, bro. You are already. And listen, at least I think would be most people don't realize that. I think I think it's like 20,000 elderly people get hacked, and they get and then credit scammed and all this stuff just happens, right? Our government really doesn't really help them out per se. They're just stuck and they get screwed over, and then the bank tries their best to kind of build them back up. But there are a lot of people who get life savings taken away. It's really sad, extremely sad what happens.
Pedro, every person that's ever gotten a security clearance for the United States, as of, I think it was in 2017, had their complete personal information hacked by the Chinese when the Chinese hacked what's, I call it JPass. It's called something new now. I used to run classified programs, and so I was had the cleared officer to run the programs. And I got notes, even though my program had closed down 2 years prior, still saying all of your personal information that you used to get a security clearance, which is everything about your life.
Everything.
Where have you lived, bank accounts, references, everything got hacked and got into the hands of the Chinese. And not only that,
what do they do with that information, though? You know what they do with that information, right?
They root out spies. That's what they do with that information. And they look for ways to
get credit by putting that into American dollars, by sending stuff out. Dude, this is why credit cards started going through and calling you specifically and asking you personal information about credit cards. If you ever go online, you want to get a credit card, they have to do an actual visual. Now they have to do a visual and a verbal.
Right, to make sure it's you.
It's really you, because what happened was China, Korea, a lot of these other places went through and literally set up and got money based off of you. Whether if you ever had like a 5,000 credit card taken out on you, right? Or a 10,000, right? This is, and then you think that wasn't me, I dispute it, right? Instantly, right? It goes through and they don't tell you where it comes from, but I'm letting you know what happens is it got rooted out by them hacking the US government. And then in doing that, they go through and the way they bring money, just like in many meme coins, we talk about this. And also not pink slips, why am I forgetting what it's called? The small marked stocks that Wolf of Wall Street used to trade. Why am I forgetting? It's the pink
sheets?
Pink sheets, thank you. Pink sheets. Was it pink sheets? Yeah. Okay, I was right. Yeah, pink sheets. And what they do is they go through and they bid up a stock, right? Just like Wolf of Wall Street would do. They bid up a stock and then they sell it and get everybody to dump on it, right? This is one of the ways before crypto came out. It's how they did it. Now they do both. And in additionally to that, they play the treasury market. So we're already getting screwed.
Hold on. You're doing that thing again, Pedro.
Oh, I'm doing that, dude.
You're bridging one topic into another.
Dude, I saw it yesterday. I'm such an idiot. And by the way, because I was watching yesterday real quick, I'll bring this to a close. Shout out real quick to I made a comment about who's that trader guy who was down in Massachusetts or up in Massachusetts, and then what was his name? Crypto Lifer? Yeah, Crypto Lifer. Basically said, it's not cool that he makes all this money and doesn't give it away. That's actually really rude. I shouldn't have said that.
He gives a lot of his money away.
Yeah. And I don't know. And he's a brother. And so if he ever watched that, just understand, I apologize.
I remember you talking to him about that.
I kind of did. And I just wanted to make sure that I just want to say, sorry, dude, went too far.
He actually gives a big chunk of money away to help feed kids.
I love that. Like, I love that.
Not just in the United States, but overseas too. And his wife is a big leader of that because her family's an immigrant family, and they take care of people back in the home country, as she says, something like that. All right. Anyway, we were finishing our discussion about Doge.
Doge, yeah.
And because I have to keep up with a lot of social media here, Pedro, to get the word out about our show. So all two of them can get here. I had to go over to Blue Sky, and I really like that that the technical platform of Blue Sky, the way it works. It's different than Twitter. It's not centralized. You can run your own server. And be part of the network, or take it off the network, or move your info to another server, and then blah, blah, blah. Certain servers are trusted more than others. The tech behind it is great. The unfortunate part behind it is that everyone that got pissed off about losing the election went over there to complain. And so it's a bunch of complainers over there. All the stuff that you're just like, oh, come on. And there's tons and tons of people over there actually complaining that Doge is saving money. And everyone's now an expert in government accounting. When this age thing hit the other day, all of a sudden everyone over there, it's a default field that blah blah blah, and they subtract this and blah 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 blah. That's everything's back to 1875 and all these different things, and none of it makes sense. When you read through their argument, then you do the math, you're like, no, that's not right. And everyone's become an expert, and everyone is now hating on these kids that Doge has hired, of which Doge has hired a couple of hundred people, and various other consultants are on loan from Elon's companies and other type of stuff. Very few of them are actually young kids. Most of them are just people that either volunteered to go work to take it on. A lot of them they're still getting paid by Elon's other companies. A lot of them have switched over to be government employees now, like the teenagers. But a lot of them are just helping try to just deal with all the data that they're dumping on them. And it's not your social security number and your private tax info and all that type of stuff. It's just the info of how these agencies operate, what systems they use, how to get the information out of them well. And people are even complaining like, oh yeah, well, are you a COBOL expert? And Fortran, some of these government systems are old. And the government people can get information out of them every day. So if someone else comes, they can get information out too. I mean, if you go to Social Security online, you type in your stuff, you can get the information out. It's on the web. You can learn what your benefits are, how much you've paid in the system. And so that means Doge can do it. And they're like, well, Elon's now got all of your money and your Social Security number and all this kind of stuff, and he can just press a button and take all the money out of the treasury. And it's all these people just complaining. And then when you just make one comment, not like you are just a bunch of assholes or anything like that, you just say, well, actually, it's not true. In fact, none of their people actually operated the computers. They went to the guy that operates the computer and said, do this. And the guy did that. And they get all bent out of shape. They go absolutely batshit crazy, and then they just start blocking you. Oh, add them to the block list, block. I've never been blocked so much in my life, except on Blue Sky. On Twitter, never get blocked. Even if you argue with someone, you don't get blocked. Blue Sky's got rid of that guy. Got rid of that guy. Oh, don't want to hear that. Want to live in an echo chamber. They're so pathetic that they argue against saving money.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is why, I'm glad that we're finally starting the ability. This is key. Starting the ability to be able to talk about money, because remember, up to literally 3 months ago, or excuse me, a month ago, you couldn't even talk about whether somebody is a boy or a girl. I'm not joking. You'd go into a party and you'd hang out with people and you'd be like, is that a girl or boy? And you couldn't even
boy, girl, right?
Yeah, dude. I at the gym, I was afraid to, because I needed to use some stuff, and I almost said, hey sir, can I use that? And I was like, hey, and because I didn't know if it was a female or a male. And
not my job to know that person's preferences. So if you have to default to sir for everything, sir. A good example, living in Dubai, a lot of times you go to get tea or coffee somewhere, you sit down, and the people just greet you as ma'am, sir. Ma'am, sir. They just use both. They're like, fuck it, use both. And it's not because of transgenderism, it's just because of language. They're just like, they don't know. They just speak what's, the restaurantees. They're like, what would you like? I'll have hello, ma'am, sir, what would you like? Coffee, sugar, and
ma'am, sir, binary.
Okay. But if you switch it up and say, how was the football game? They look at you like, no idea what the hell you're saying. So they just come at ma'am, sir, and you're like, ma'am, sir. And
ma'am, sir, binary. It needs to go to binary. It's a non-binary.
Ma'am, sir, it. Ma'am, sir, it.
No.
Ma'am, sir, it.
Yeah, ma'am, sir.
But it is good to be able to talk about it, and we should. Yeah. Everything, here's a good example. Cardano is coming out with their zero knowledge blockchain here.
ZK rollup.
The ZK rollup stuff. There's a million privacy protocols. Won't talk about which one's better or not. Let's just use Cardano as an example. Cardano could go in and get the entire Treasury and IRS system and SEC and all these other things and blockchain it all and make sure that the key information about privacy is maintained, but allow all of that data to be open and transparent. And when all that data is open and transparent, people write apps. People use that data. People compare it against one data set against another. They compare it against different time periods. And all of a sudden, and especially with AI now, you could just literally say, write the code to compare the Treasury spending over the past 10 years if it was all on the blockchain, and AI would do it no problem. And all of that, all of things like that, when you open source stuff and crowdsource stuff, it just makes things wonderful. And all of a sudden people point out, hey, did you know that we're actually double taxing this thing? And we're like, oh no, nobody really, that was kind of a hidden tax. And all that information would come out. It would make things so much more efficient and wonderful. It would be fantastic. But there's an inherent, bias in the government to hide everything. Our life should be private, and the government should be public. But the government wants the opposite. And so we need to reverse that, and this is the starting point with Doge. This is the starting point with them.
since Doge has been in existence and doing what it's currently doing, it's literally saved America on a daily basis since its inception $2.6 billion, $2.65 billion a day. That's crazy. Like, it's literally saving. And the thing that kind of is blowing me away is the idea that if you think about over 306, that's $1 trillion a year.
Wow.
Right, or I guess 900, it'd be like 800 billion, almost $1 trillion though. But I was thinking, like, if they keep going the way they're going, and I think sooner or later it's going to start slowing down, right? Like, it's just partly. But over a period of 2 years, it should free up a lot of cash. And I'm wondering, like, what is the government? They've talked about literally just giving dividends to Americans. I mean, that's what they do in Dubai. Like, if you're a citizen, right? Like, don't they give a certain amount?
They used to. I mean,
they don't do it anymore.
I mean, they've reduced it. And in fact, they've introduced a little bit of a sales tax there now to make up for the past transgressions in the property market. But it's like a good example is Alaska. You know, Alaska, you don't pay taxes and you actually get money for being a resident there because you own part of as a resident, you own part of the oil fields that are there. So everyone gets their stipend, which for some people is enough to live on. For most, it's just a little bonus. But imagine when you go to file your taxes at the end of the year, not only did you not give any money to the government in withholdings, you get money from it. They pay you.
Dude, I mean, I think it would be dope. I mean, if we were to balance the budget, right? Let's say we balance it. And then as the sovereign fund starts to kick in, right? And it actually starts to make money and actually starts to do really well. Like every American would get a small amount. Even if it's freaking $250 at the end of the year. It's still like, wait, our government's paying us? Right? Like, I just think that would be dope. You know, you have a $25 sales tax on everything, boom. But at the end of the year, like, they would sit there and just be like, boom, here you go, man. Arcade, what's up? Good to have you. Thanks for showing up today. Hey, please hit that like and subscribe button, guys. As you guys all know, we really appreciate it. Today we had a faux pas with our streaming service here, and they kind of messed things up for us. So if you guys could do us a quick favor, hit that thumbs button. We've got 3 people hitting it already, so that's a good thing. But just thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you. All right, so quick question here. Let's jump back in here to the charts because I think it's really interesting. Looking at Doge, right? Like, it's actually showing some strength, and I've been buying Doge here now. Just, you know, kind of as it's now we're seeing the sell off. I think it's starting to show weakness again. So if we close below this 200 period moving average, expect us to come back down to that $20 or 20-cent area here. And I you know, I'm really hoping that we're able to get down to the lower to that 18-cent area because I really want to pick up some at these levels here. The other one I want to bring up as well is I'm also looking. Where is it at? I saw some stuff here with Hex. Did you see the stuff? Like Hex
I haven't looked at Hex in ages.
Since last time we talked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so
sell off again.
Oh yeah, nice little sell off here. You can't really buy them unless you buy them on their blockchain, I guess. But if it sells off again, I'm looking at like that 1 cent 5 area here at this level here to maybe purchase some. And again, the reason why I say this is we all understand, like, it's got a huge, like, fanatic just group of people that buy Hex. And just like we've seen with Lunic, like, Lunic is still going. Like, I can't believe this is still going. Like, there's still people who buy. There's still people who are buying Lunic. You know? And you don't know, like, if the next bull run takes off, you know, these dead communities all of a sudden become, you know, it's sitting back up at its top. So I'm not telling you to put your whole entire life savings. I'm just saying $50 could turn into, potentially 5,000 at these low levels. You know what I'm saying? Like
there are lots of people that go around and play these dead coins and buy 1%, and they're like 9 out of 10 of nothing happens, but that one happens, and you make
100x.
Yeah, 100x's.
Yeah, and so that's how I'm looking at these plays, these little things here, going little gambles here, because you just don't know what's actually going to happen. Oh, and also just to bring up, some AI stuff here.
Hold on, Arcade. This Bitcoin will be launching in a few weeks. Video out for info.
Let's go Bitcoin, and it's spelled naturally, BI. So.
Yeah,
if you want to look at
BITCH coin.
Yeah. All right, so let's check out some AI.
Ladies and gentlemen, the quality of the entertainment you get on this episode of the show.
Are you not entertained? All right, so let's talk about Lithium. We talked about it here, where I would look at these prices here.
Ooh,
so
blew through that.
Oh yeah, boom! But it's starting to find some support down at our lower level here. So Lithium, again, it's another AI project that was doing really good, and then just kind of lost momentum here. We saw the sell-off happening here. Down here at the lower level, that 40 cent, 30 cent area, it's a pretty nice area. So I don't know how far it's going to go down here, but I don't think it's dead. Again, this has a huge community. They've got actual real tech, real stuff actually going on with them. So
it's up. I mean, it's up today.
Yeah. Well, it's up for the week.
Hold on, let me bring that. Let me see if I can get this great graphics machine working for Lithium here. And get some data on it.
While you're doing that, I'm going to switch something here real quick, but I'll go back to Lithium when you just let me know when you have it.
Apparently, I've got Onyx coin up there. No, let's try that.
Onyx.
There we go.
All right, let's pull it up, Lithium. So I think at these lower levels here, I like it just simply because if this thing decides to pick up again in the next bull run as we start to see it go, I think this is a really good price. And Lithium is sitting at 67 million market cap. So it's at our lower area here. I like this 41 cent, 38 cent. Remember when I was writing these out?
Yeah.
And you're like, that lower level, you sure? I'm like, yeah. So
well, look at that week after week decline there.
Yeah,
I mean that is brutal. What is that? 3 months?
9. Yeah, 9 weeks.
Little over 2 months in a row of down. That's brutal. The question is, when the money came out of that, where did it go?
I think what's happening is people are selling off. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I know it's going down, and I know that there's a ton of liquidity sitting right here. So we can already see it kind of pumping up as it's coming closer to this level. We might see a little crash here, a little flash crash, come back down, and then see it continue up to that 8. Now, obviously, it's got a ton of moving averages to fight through, but this is the ping pong effect that I always talk about, right? Where it battles through and then finally pushes up, and we have price discovery. So we're doing a nice pullback, which is what I've been expecting with a lot of these smaller coins. This is at our point where I like it. I like it down at that 40 cent, 34 cent area here. Now let's check out Fetch. Now Fetch I've been waiting for this thing for a while to kind of come down. It's starting to continue down on its lower level here with the AI stuff. So
I forget what Fetch does.
I forget. Basically, I think they're a data mining system that goes through. When you walk around, they actually create a virtual world, something like that. I forget exactly what it was. It exploded back in the last bull run, towards the end of the bull run, and they stayed up for a good portion of that, and they finally sold off. But like these lower levels here, of that, whoever got in down at October 22, November 23, got in at 6 cents, man, and they were able to run this back all the way up to that $4 or $3.50 area. So that was a nice little 24 40, 60, almost 100x from 6 cents. So I'm trying to think. 60, 120. Come on, brain. 60 cents, 6 cents, 60, 120,
Oh, that's weird.
240.
They are not on. Oh, there it is. Artificial Superintelligence Alliance.
Yeah, it was a bunch of guys here that came together to create it.
Oh, that's right. I remember a bunch of them merged into one.
Yeah. But this is another one that I'm looking for. If it continues down, I want to be picking it up around that 5 cent or 50 cent, 40 cent area as we come down to this lower level. I haven't really touched much. I haven't touched it up at these levels. I've been kind of waiting because the sell-off on it with the pickup of seller pressure was really one of those things I said it should come back down further. So I'm looking definitely at that 50 cent area, 46 cent.
Wait, let me make sure I got the right one here. What's it at now?
It's sitting at 72 cents right now.
Yeah, I got the right one. Down to just under $2 billion in market cap. Down a lot. All of these AI guys are down by 4x, it seems like.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at them. That's why I want to play them, because I don't think they've gone away. I definitely don't think they've gone away. I think money's pulling out of them, but then once they're, I mean, in all reality, the reason I bring this up is because with our co-host who normally hangs out with us during this day, by the way, AI Life, Mr. Rodriguez had some personal situations going on.
Oh yeah,
so
we forgot to tell people today was supposed to be the AI Life.
AI Life, yeah. But because of personal circumstances, we weren't able to do it today. So we decided to we'll do that. Maybe we'll probably launch it. We'll probably run some, something in the background and launch it down the road or something like that. So we'll find out. But we just want to say our well wishes and thoughts for Mr. Rodriguez. So he's going through some stuff. All right. So moving back here to our AI stuff here. Because of some of the stuff he's told me and some of the things that are coming in with a decentralized AI, and especially the ability that, he's talked about how easy it would actually be able to give quantum computing to every single house by changing the mechanisms of it and then creating a distributed system for quantum computing so that everybody can use kind of everybody's stuff and still be protected because of just the nature of the actual technology is a very simple thing to do. So like you said, it's just basically like having a CD-ROM in your computer. Obviously a little bit bigger and a little bit more complex, but in a nutshell, that's how he says it really wouldn't even be that hard to do. And so from a decentralized system, AI crypto would be one of the ones that I would see it could explode, right? Because all of a sudden now you're sharing your network and allowing it to be opened and used, and you receive tokens for it, right? Which acts like as a mining system. So that's why I'm looking at to see these AI programs. And once he does it, I give it a 6-month process before everybody starts doing it. And again, we have that next launch of technology boost that correlates with that. And so that's why I'm looking at these projects here, checking out which ones I want to play with and see what happens with it. Starknet is another one, which is it's kind of sold off here to its lows here.
That took a beating.
Oh, beat, bro. It got beat. Like, look at that, dude. That's real. That is real. Dang. So that's another one I was kind of looking at. Now let's check out some of these other ones here as well, so we can pull this up. Where was it? ICP. There we go. So ICP is another one I'm looking at here. Another AI project coming down to our level here, bouncing up, it's starting to continue down. So I'm definitely looking at this low 509 area, or excuse me, 506 area.
What do you got up there? ICP?
Yeah, ICP, yep. So ICP down at these lower levels here at 506, 511 or 506 to 451 right there. So this is the area that I'm definitely looking at, 450. And if it can hit even the lower part area here, that 390 area, 370 area would be one of those areas that would be dope for me to be able to pick up, a few $100s at these lower levels and just let it sit, let it play. And it's a trip that you can actually let these things earn liquid staking here. And then, by the way, the new system within the government is looking to bring back staking again, which is, I'm really happy about that.
There's no reason the government should deny you the ability to put your money to work and make money using your money. And I think it's a free speech issue, frankly, because the Supreme Court has routinely over and over again said the use of your money is the same as the use of your words. It's your actions, and it's essentially free speech. And that's how they overturned all the campaign finance rules. They said your money is speech, which I happen to disagree with the campaign finance stuff, but they can't tell us, the federal government can't tell us that the only way for you to earn passive income on your money is to put it in a bank.
Yeah.
First of all, it's showing favoritism. The government's not allowed to do that. They are violating our right to free speech. They can regulate products all they want, but if the products are ubiquitous and people want to use them, and then they still deny that eventually it's going to get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to say, hey, there's no actual logical reason for you to regulate this. And the government can say all they want about it, say, well, we're just trying to protect the people. But then, like when it was revealed that 10 million people in the state of California had staking accounts on Coinbase.
Yeah.
You're like, well, the people have voted with their money. Yeah. And now they just voted in the election for the change in government. So,
which, it's going to be really interesting to see, because I have a lot of friends of mine out in California, and many of them are very far left. But I would say like a vast majority of them, the ones, even the far left ones, are becoming much more like sympathetic to crypto, right? Like in a sense, because they're like they want to make money. And so it's really interesting to see them pick up. I have, multiple times a week, I have people reaching out to me on my Facebook page, not Facebook page, but just personal through my DMs and going, hey, how do I do this? Can you show me? And it's strange because I have old friends of mine from California that are doing it, friends of mine from Washington State, which is pretty liberal. And I just think it's interesting that they're very much, they want to know about it. So it was just a matter of time before this comes about, and they say, hey, you can get your staking back now. Thank you. What I want is I want to get paid back because you took it away when we were at a bear market, and I would have been buying at very low prices, right? Like the amount of money, bro, that I lost. Like that money that Doge is saving, I want that money to come back to me. All those people who got taken away, because at these low levels, I mean, just look at ICP, bro, at $3.
Oh, wait, I got Elon on the phone here. Hold on a second. Yes, Elon. Sorry, I'm a little busy. Oh, okay. I'll tell him. All right, thanks. Bye. Elon said they were going to return the money to you, Pedro, with 18% interest compounded daily.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be perfect. That'd be awesome. Thank you, Mr. Elon. And here's the problem, though. This is the thing. That's real. That was real in crypto. Like it's not. It's the problem is that they took that away. Like you could literally put your money in at 17, 16% at a $2 point where I could put in $100, $200, $300, and then that would in itself was getting on it, because the way staking works is it compounds daily. Where you go in, you do your little thing, boom, and thank you, have a good day. And I thought was so interesting is they took it away at the time that if you want to get in and do staking. And the best time for it is literally during a bear market, because you're buying more up at a lower price.
Right.
Like that right there, probably in, let's say, in 20 years, probably worth, I would say, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
Yep.
Because
but
the price
instead, zero. Wait, here
Zero.
let me play a little devil's advocate here with staking here. So say David Sachs gets his way, staking's legal. You can do whatever you want with your crypto money and earn however you want, so long as you follow the tax code.
Obviously.
Whatever that turns out to be. But that opens up all this staking to Wall Street money. And so what if BlackRock says, all right, we're gonna drop $50 billion into staking Ethereum. Suddenly, the return goes to zip, because they obviously can't inflate Ethereum by 17% on that type of money. So I have a feeling that the returns were high to get people to stake. I have a feeling now that it becomes legal, you're going to see staking approaching bank level interest rates, or with risk built into it. So it'll be higher than banks. But it's going to get low really quickly.
But we forget that the reason why you're making money is because transactional pricing. It's not because the actual system itself is, like, the way the current banking system works is, like, those returns are normal in banking, but they're for the higher echelon, right? Because they receive part of the fee structure in which you would actually put your money. So if I put in $500 million into a bank, well, they're giving me 15% on my money, right? Like, they're giving me good money, or good percentage, because they want the use of that money to make money. And on the back end, if you receive more money, whereas within the banking system, you had to be an accredited investor, you had to do all these things. Whereas if I have $100, I can still make 17% because I'm a part of the fee structure of them using my money.
They don't give that money to wealthy people anymore like that, because they can go get it for 1% at the Fed window. They used to do that, but now they don't have to, because they can get it from the government for basically free. They can borrow, banks can borrow. If you've got an account at the Fed, you can borrow whatever you want cheaply.
How many of these coins here that are in the low 1,000, but they're still, this is what I'm trying to say, is I'm trying to find coins that I can get good amount of money from, but are still stable. Let's say 200 million, 300 million market cap, 400 million, potentially maybe high 100 millions, right? Maybe below $1 billion. So I can get a good amount, staking amount from it.
Right.
This is where I'm looking at. That crypto is not going to be able to go knock on the Fed's door, go, hey, we're worth almost $1 billion. Can we? No, they're going to no, just barrier to entry into us. You got to at least be at $50 to $100 billion. We're talking large institutions, right? Like Walmart's, Targets. I mean, institutions. So these small guys are still going to pay me out well on staking or liquid staking. So, I mean, this is, go ahead.
Sorry to laugh. It's off topic, but it's not off topic. It's back to the talking about the morons on social media. There's just as a side note, it's just another example of people that don't understand economics, and they're all saying, well, we have to boycott stores that their executives donated to Trump, or they've eliminated their DEI policies, or something like that. So there's a big thing: don't shop at Target and Walmart, shop at Costco, because Costco came out and said we support DEI and we pay our people a living wage. So everyone's like, oh, I got it. Costco buys everything from China. We all know that. Well, not everything. They get wine from all over the place, but you get my point. And so what they don't understand, and it's actually a big movement. A lot of people are saying, well, I'm not going to shop at those stores. We'll take our money elsewhere. Pedro, if a whole bunch of people stop shopping at one store and go to the other store, what do each of those stores do? The store that they all leave does what? It lowers their price. The store that they all go to
increases
their price.
Yeah.
And then what happens? People go, yeah, I like my politics, but I like cheaper. So
they do that. People vote with their wallet. Absolutely.
It's a natural equilibrium. And it's the basis of capitalism. It's the basis of not even capitalism. It's the basics of the old economic theory of guns and butter. You can only do one or the other. You take away from one, you add to the other. You take away from that one, you add to the other. And so all these people is like, yeah, we'll show them. Oh yeah? Well, Target and Walmart, they got more than 10 minutes of staying power here. And they'll say, all right, well, we'll just run a big sale. And then they're like, oh, well, they'll lose money on a sale. Yeah, for about a week. And then you all come back and buy their shit. Then they'll put in new orders with China factories and buy stuff, get a better price because they put in a big order to replace everything you guys bought on sale. It's like none of these people have any brains. They're like, oh yeah, well I'll show them. No, they're going to show you. That's why they're $1 trillion corporations, because they've shown you the business for generations. Like Walmart they figured it out a long time ago. They said, well, how do you get customers in here? We have a lower price. Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to sell the best stuff. They don't care. They want a lower price. The people that want the best stuff go seek the best stuff, and it's a small part of the market. So
it's a very small market.
All you people on Blue Sky that are watching right now, which is none, take some, just go to Grok or any artificial intelligence thing and say, how does economics work? Just type it in and it'll tell you that you're an idiot. If they spend all this time arguing about it and you're just like, oh yeah, well I went and applied for a Costco card and I'm like, but they're just gonna raise the prices on you and you're gonna pay more. Other guy's gonna lower the price and then you're gonna be like, yeah, I support Costco. Where'd you go today? I went to Target. Don't tell my fellow Democrats.
Dude, and here's the thing, there is no forgiveness when it comes to these guys. Somebody asked, I was watching this social media thing and they're like, should I forgive a racist? And on this college camp, they said no. And it was really interesting. This guy was sitting there going, but look, he may be racist, but he's still a human being. They're like, he's not a human being if he's a racist. Like, no.
That's not how it works there, buddy.
That's not how it works
There's
here.
this thing called science.
Right. Yeah. And so it was so interesting to sit there. Like the far left, I think this is what's going to hurt them. There's at a very, like my friend who is a common sense liberal, right? As he deems himself, he goes, my own party pushed me out because I wouldn't side with them of mutilating little children.
Right.
And just he goes, my niece and nephew can't go out.
It ain't about if you gonna be chosen, it's about if you gonna answer the call.
Like they can't go out and shoot. They're 10 years old.
El primer facto de
it wasn't just a few years ago that they were thinking that they were cats and dogs. Right? So it's like, and it was this, and he goes, I had to vote for Trump. And this is the part that's so crazy is that, and I actually talked about this with Chris Alexander. I said, back when we were talking about Crow and stuff like that.
Jesus Christ!
Because he said there's no way that the Democrats are going to let up. He said, and I said, well, they have to, because how are they going to get reelected? I mean, I go, maybe the far left will not, but the central, right before the far left, all right, you may still want to kill babies. Okay, but if that baby's alive, you're not gonna allow that baby to go from a boy or a girl. Just there's those people there that you're not gonna sit there and try to do it. I think that's where the line's gonna be, and then it's gonna move more right. It's gonna move more right, and I feel like I still feel like that. It's just the common sense behind this is just. Am I wrong, or do you think they'll hold on to that, and that's where they're gonna die? Like that's where the post went on.
These are things people will take. They'll die on that hill, and they'll take the bullet and say that they're righteous as they're getting shot.
Really?
At least in public.
That's
And
what he
behind the
said.
scenes, they'll be like, oh well, I can't really show in public that I actually disagree with all this mumbo jumbo crap, you know. Hey, Pedro, you couldn't hear it, but Jesus, I was looking for that Rick and Morty sound for Jesus Christ, and I played a bunch of other ones. One in Spanish, one in other ones, but I found the right one, and it was Rick going Jesus Christ.
What's do a me seek? What's a me seek?
I don't know what a me seek is, but let me see if I can pipe this through to you here, Pedro. And
Jesus Christ!
He is a good God. I like him a lot. All right, so I think what's interesting here is that when it comes down to it, this amount of sell-offs that we're seeing here is, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it. I mean, I don't think that we're going to see these die. I mean, it's just the idea behind where it's sitting just makes sense to me to buying at these low levels. You know what I'm saying? Aptos, man. I said we'd go down to here. We saw a huge push up, and then it just sold right through. Now it's all the way down. Aptos is starting to show a little bit of strength here. At $6, it came all the way down to $4 here. So that's real interesting. Boom.
Aptos?
Yeah, Aptos. Yeah. Aptos.
Hold on, I'm a little behind you here.
It's all good.
Oops, that's not right. I don't have auto push on. Let's see. Click a button. Well, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? There we go. Aptos, $6.45, $3.7 billion market cap, and 404 million traded in the past 24 hours. Pedro, that's a lot for Aptos.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the past 24 hours we've seen a little green, so I wish the great graphics machine could compare it against the past couple periods. But it'd be interesting to see. I can't see that the scroller covers your volume bar down there. The volume in the past 24 hours looks like it's a big green candle. How was it before that? Was it just
so
amounts?
It's definitely it was about 2/3 of the average price, but now it was less than 2/3 of the average price for what we were seeing for the last maybe week, or last 5 days since last Thursday. Now, or 6 days. Now we see this huge explosion off of here, which is about, I would say, 50% or maybe 45% of the average price of increase in volume. So that's a huge significant push. It looks high. I mean, the idea that dismiss. It's 2:30. Just giving you a heads up. It's 2:30.
Oh Jesus! I blew it again. I still got the Eastern time zone in my head, but it's Central time where I am.
It's all good. And so the reason I bring this up here real quick is that the last few weeks we've seen Aptos kind of sell off here. I'm kind of looking at it, seeing if it's going to start pushing off. Just because of last week, I saw it come through, and it just kind of went sideways. So it's pushing back up. We want to see it get up to that 750 and then pull back into next week. That to me will let me know that, hey, it's most likely going to push up. So that's around that 50-day period moving average. It all depends if it's going to keep going, but it looks like it's pretty strong here. I mean,
I wonder if there's some news or something. What caused Aptos to pop?
But what's really important, though, is you want to see it continue. So the fact is that we're not putting a lot of demand wicks over the last 2 and 4 hours. It could potentially just be a fake pump. So, but it all depends. So I really don't see any demand wicks coming into these lower time frames. But it's something that it's been on my radar. You know, every week I kind of pop through every day, and I see kind of what's going on with that. That's what I do. Well, look at it. That's kind of like what I do. I'm just, and the reason why is this allows me to be able to kind of see what's happening in the market. You know, boom, boom.
What the hell does Aptos do? I forget.
I forget, but I know it's a major and just another major coin.
Yeah, let's look it up here. Might as well get educated here today.
Also, HBAR. HBAR is another one that I've been kind of looking at. HBAR, that 18, 15 cent area is another area that I'm looking at. Even at that 12 cent, where the 400-day period moving average is another area as well for HBAR.
Hedera hash graph.
Yep. They're doing a lot. They had a few months ago. There's a bunch of news about it, some of the stuff that they were doing. So, you know, they're just grinding along and building more community.
21 cents. It's still a $9 billion project here, Hedera. Very popular in Europe. Every one of my kind of European crypto business friends says, why aren't you guys, you know, using Hedera? In the US, it's like a million chains. What does that matter?
Yeah. There it goes. So, I don't know. I like these lower areas here. I think now that's the 12 cent area here. Right now it's in about 21. I think we could see Hedera come down to that 12 cent area here. And 15 to 12 cent is one of those things that I'm looking at right now. There you go. Oh, that's where the 50 period moving average is sitting right there. So
Hedera still, you know, $200 million traded in the past 24 hours, and well, they got a little bump in the past 24. What time frame? You got the daily chart too?
Yeah, this is daily. Yeah.
Something. I bet you the bubble maps are going to show a lot of stuff green.
Yeah. So I like this area right here, sitting around that 13 to 11 cent for Hedera. It's interesting. You were telling me a lot of people. I don't know what HBAR does. What do they do?
They're like Matic. I mean, it's an inexpensive blockchain, but it's more. People keep saying it's more business oriented. I don't know what the hell that means, but.
Well, let's go ahead and delete this. Boom, was wrong. Boom. So we came up to the supply area here. Sold off. Now we're down. So Gala, which we were looking at, it's coming down to our lower level here again for Gala. Gala is
Decentraland, or is that Manta?
No, that's Mana, I believe.
Mana.
No, not Mana. No, Mana is.
I forget what Gala is. Well, I guess I can look it up.
I'm just looking at the charts here. The chart here I'm looking at, it potentially could get lower.
Gala is just Gala.
Gala. Let's pull up some areas here. And we're market cap. Where is the log? Let's go.
Why didn't it fucking update?
10 cent area here. So they're got. Why isn't this giving me? Gala has migrated to a new contract address. The old contract address, check there.
Gala trading at 2 cents. Actually, it's rounded. It's probably not 2 cents. Let me fix that.
TradeView's got them all the way down to here.
2.2 cents, or $0.0222 is what they're trading. Oh wow, look at them. That looks like a chart that's slow rugged and is just dead.
I can only imagine. So they're at 1 billion here. So they were literally at $100 billion. No, $800 billion.
Man, if I was an insider, I would have taken that money all day. All day.
Am I reading that right? 800? There's not possible. 800. Am I tripping? Or am I doing this wrong? It's worth 900 billion right now.
900 million.
Or excuse me,
it's
900
worth $1 billion.
million. Yeah, so we'll say $1 billion. And at 2, and it went all the way up to 80, 90. So it would be 40. So, okay, I'm sorry. $40 billion. That's about right. Okay. Dude, imagine. That's crazy. Being right here at the bottom.
Oh, look at that. It shut that off.
That is absolutely insanity. Yeah, so that's an 80x there.
Jesus Christ!
Or 40x right there. That would have been, dude, imagine if you're the dev, dude, and you're sitting there, you're going like, I mean, you're being right here.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking, I mean, within what was it, 2 months, 3 months? So from here, from September to November, you're a millionaire.
Yeah, Jesus, I don't have some settings right. When I click on something else to change my sounds, the background noise goes. That was the alien ship engine room sound you were listening to. I was spared Pedro from it.
Yeah, for whatever reason, whenever Tom plays music, it is literally, I mean, it blares in my ear.
Blasting in his ear.
Yeah, and I can't even think. I mean, and I like loud music, by the way, so.
You are fake news.
But I just think it's real interesting what we're seeing. One of the things I think also, one thing I've been looking at, and I'm just looking for good deals right now. Like where is it? And I think in the top 100s, right? Like those are where you just need to go through and check. Like Gala is in the low 80s. That was another one I was actually shocked about is Leo. Remember we were talking about Leo and they were like in the top like 80, and I was talking about that. They kicked ass, bro. I think they're in the top 20 now. That was another one that like just killed it. Where's Leo here?
Leo?
BNB, yeah, Leo. Litecoin, Shiba, where's it at? Ton, Mantra. I saw them.
Not looking good for Leo.
Yeah, it was 18. They're in the top 18 right here. But here's the thing. What blew me away was...
Oh, it's the Unsys one. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was a trip. Like, my hair got stuck in my hand. Like this one, like we saw this thing climb. Like, it was down at these lower levels when it was back in 2000, like the summertime. It had this huge push up. And I said, if it comes back down to this area here, this is where we'll see it consolidate and go up. And that was around that $3 mark. It would shot up to 9, came back down to that 3, 4. And now, bro, it's still going. Like it's a big deal. Like, and they're in the top 20. And it was another one that I was looking at, and I just forgot. Leo. And that was the other part. It's right above the H bar here. One thing I thought was really interesting is a lot of these ones, like Aave, we were looking at Aave for a while, right? Aave, when you look at it like from a technical standpoint, when it sold off, man, it sold off hard, right? Like boom, it sells off. It goes from 300 plus or almost $400 all the way down to 191, right? Like that's 50% sell off here.
Ave?
Like Ave, yeah. Ave Maria.
If I walk into that one.
Gracia. All right.
What's its symbol? What's Ave's symbol?
AAVE.
AAV. Right.
Yeah. Double AVE. Sorry, that's one of my favorite songs, especially during Christmas time. I love it.
Ave, $252, $3.7 billion market cap, up 3.36% today. On the futures markets, making a little bit of money today. Ladies and gentlemen, for all of you massive amounts of people that are with us today, first of all, thanks to everyone that joined us on Rumble. Our largest viewership today was on Rumble. Tomorrow we're going to have an episode of the AI Life with Steve Rodrigue, talking about, frankly, whatever we talk about on the AI Life is something that's amazing for humanity. And then Friday we'll have, may or may not have an episode of Full Rant Friday. But the AI Life, if you haven't seen that show, ladies and gentlemen, it is every discussion you walk away from it and you're like, wow, the future. I mean, AI as we know it now, that's can answer just about any question you can think. The new Grok 3 is amazing,
dude.
Wait,
talk about it. Man, I'll be yesterday. I'll be tomorrow.
Is amazing. I was talking while you were doing your graph stuff, so.
You're right. Sorry, go ahead.
And so, this is all stuff that's going to be with humanity forever, and will be aiding our lives and changing our lives. And I was watching Elon Musk and his team roll out Grok 3, and they plotted they just told Grok to come up with a 3D simulation of the launching a rocket from Earth to Mars.
To Mars, that's what it was.
And then returning and use the proper physics in launch windows. And it showed how it thought through it and came up with the answers and all that. And then they started talking about going to Mars. And Elon just came out and said, hopefully when the launch window opens in, I don't know, a year or 18 months from now, he said we'll have starships in space, ready to go, and they'll be loaded up with, what do you call them, Osiris?
Yeah, Osiris. Yeah, I think it's Osiris. Yeah.
The robot, and with Grok intelligence, and they're going to go there, land, and the robots are going to listen to Grok on what to do. And they're going to say, "This is what we need to do: explore, build, do this type of stuff." And there's going to be a robot colony there building stuff.
Dude, so dope. It is. Oh, somebody made. I gotta stop saying the word dope. Dude, it is so amazing. Just the idea, bro, that we could literally be on Mars, like in 20 years. Now, I love Earth, dude. I don't think I'll ever go to Mars, just being all honesty. Just unless the environment can get a lot better, right? Like right now, it's still inhabited. Like you can't, like it's just not inhabitable for humans. But maybe in 30, 40 years, some of the, we might be able to terraform some areas, maybe, right?
Or just have a cool ass hotel there that you go to for a year, Just.
No, I'm good. I'm still good, dude. I'm still good, bro.
I'm good. I'll take Key West. Thank you very much.
yeah, like this. Earth's still dope, bro. It's the pretty blue planet. It's great. But it's gonna be a trip to see different views, night skies, right, from their perspective, right? And especially like, let's say you get on it, right, and you're there for 2-year period, right? Because you're not going to be able to sit there and say, oh, I want to go back to Mars or I want to go back to Earth, unless they create some teleportation situation.
Or just a bigger rocket so you could go direct to it with not unlimited, but with massive amounts of fuel. Because right now, the long way is what we do is we don't have enough fuel, so you got to wait for Mars to catch you and blah, blah, blah. But if you make a lot of rocket fuel out of the Mars soil and build rockets, then you could get there faster. But still, it's far.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of technical hurdles to go home.
Yeah.
Like your rocket
we
may
don't-
blow up and not leave the planet. Then you're stuck. Well, sorry guys, not coming home.
Yeah, for that 2-year period, right? Like,
Or ever.
I guess you're right. Yeah, you're dead. Yeah, I didn't realize that when you said blow up. Yeah. But like, I think it's so dope, just the idea that you could literally be able to look at another night sky, right? Another sunset apart from Earth's, right? I just think that's so cool. You know, like those were, you know, I love Dune. Have you ever like read the books Dune?
No, I've only seen the movies. I have not read the books.
It's just there's some cool stuff to it. But I think what's interesting, or even like any type of other sci-fi, anytime like Ender's Game, Ender's Game is another one in the series of it. Anytime I read through these, I always thought to myself, what are the sunsets like on these planets? Like, or what you know, what does it look like on a sunrise? You know, does that obviously it's a different atmosphere, right? So it's going to look different, or maybe it's going to be the same. I don't know, but I just think it's going to be a cool thing to look at and see what actually happens as humanity. You know, part of me just doesn't want to die to see what we discover and what we do. Like, it's kind of crazy, but I hope like I can live until like 150 years old. So, I mean,
It may not be a problem. AI might figure that out next week. Just drink this red juice and chug it like you're a fraternity brother. You got 150 years in you. You'll be good to go, Pedro.
Good to go. But what I mean it though, but it's just, I want to see like what happens, you know, with humanity and the curiosity of
Brando Commando in the house. Thanks for joining us at the end of our show today.
Up? How you doing, man? We talking about some crazy stuff right now, but it's good to have you, Brando.
Thanks for being part of the Rumble crew and joining us. Show us the love and click that like button, would you, Brando Commando? But thank you very much. Pedro, I'm going to tell me if this is too loud in your ear, but you'll notice that it's the outro music. And it's time for us to go, ladies and gentlemen. Brando Commando, thank you for joining us. We've talked about all kinds of stuff today. We started out the show talking about Bitcoin and Solana, the Solana meltdown. We're going to be watching Solana a lot because it could come racing back with the right meme coin. There might be a nice play in there. We'll get Pedro to look at that and come up, bring it up on Monday's show. It's the next time we'll be live talking DYOR Live. Tomorrow we'll be here with the AI Life with Steve Rodrigue of the Legit Token or Legit whatever.
DAO.
And Legit DAO. And yes, of course, Jesus Christ says Solana. Solana, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say Solana. So longa. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.
Ciao, my peoples.